Hi, everybody. We have a super exciting rock star guest today. um, Laura Ann Masura. Is that how you say your last name, Masura?
It can be. Masura.
How do you say it?
Masura?
Masura. Laura Ann Masura.
Like the state.
She currently is a kick-ass jam maker, but she started her life as a rock and roll drummer, hence the rock theme to all her stuff. We met Laura at Jackalope Fair, and we loved what she was doing, and we invited her to coffee, and it was like sitting with an old friend. We just instantly hit it off. Really love her, really love what she's doing. So she makes these amazing jams, and you're not going to believe her. It's one of our favorite origin stories of how she got started. And now she makes cocktails with her jams, and that's what she's going to show us today. So that'll be really fun. So welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure. I'm happy to be here. And I had such a nice time hanging out with you guys. Same thing. I felt like we were old friends, just like catching up, but we just met.
Yeah. It was so comfortable and casual. And that was back in the day when you could actually do that face to face.
Meet for coffee and give them a hug. I know. I had a nightmare yesterday that I saw someone that I hadn't seen in decades. And it was like, I can't hug you. It was like this horrifying realization. Anyway.
It just happened to me. It just happened to me this week, actually. I went to a friend bought some jams online that I haven't seen in a really long time, and I saw her name pop up, and I was just like, hey girl, what a nice surprise, nice to see you, and put my cell phone number on there, and then she texted me like, come out to my ranch. And I was like, sure. Plenty of social distancing space there.
Yeah.
So, but as I was driving there, I actually had this moment where I was like, how do you greet each other? Like, I haven't seen her in about 10 years, besides like on the internet, but I haven't seen her face in 10 years. And I'm like, it's gonna be so awkward not to just hug you. So I got there and I'm like, do we just do like a
right,
bow?
that's what I've been picturing, that bow.
Yeah, bowing.
And she's
like
I'm gonna bring back the curtsy, I think. I like the idea of a curtsy.
She's a professional wrestler though, and so I asked her, is it supposed to be this? And she said that supposedly it's like if you grasp your hand, it's a friend, and if it's open, you're like an opponent or something. But she's like, I don't know if any of that's true, but I meant to Google it. Maybe after we're done.
Or maybe while we're doing, maybe somebody who's listening can Google that for us. And
let us know a proper welcoming stance, whether it's closed fist for friends.
Lisa Barbosa, I'm looking at you. You're up for the task. Yeah, it's interesting. I just kind of figured we'd just be like, hi.
Yeah.
See ya.
Pretty much. I also I've kind of been all over the place because I'm delivering jams everywhere. So I'll like socially distance something. And one of my friends that I dropped some jams off to yesterday lives in Studio City, but she had a balcony. And she texted me like, don't leave. And she flings open her balcony like from the top floor and was like blowing kisses. And I was just like, well, this works. And this is kind of nice.
Evita style.
I like that.
That's why you should say that. She started singing that. So
how can you not? It's either that or Romeo and Juliet. So.
Yeah.
I saw on TV the other day, there's a woman who's making sandwiches. Like she's a professional chef, but she can't work right now. So she's got an apartment, I think it's in Los Feliz or Silver Lake, and she's making sandwiches, and she lives like on the 4th floor. They're breakfast sandwiches. So every morning people place an order by text, and then she takes a basket and she set up a pulley system, and they wait down below, and she pulleys, sends the basket down to them and says hello. And they take the sandwiches and they leave.
So she studied in France, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Us Americans don't come up with them ideas.
I'd just be like, here's your sandwich. Go
right.
long.
Yeah.
Exactly.
American way. So we got lots of people joining us today.
Excellent.
Hooray! Hi, everybody.
Sarah was
Hopefully my
saying,
mom.
what?
I said hopefully my mom.
Oh yeah. What's your mom's name?
Valerie.
Valerie. Uh-oh,
Mom.
Valerie. Not
She's
here
on
yet.
Arizona time. It's okay.
Oh, okay. She'll see you.
And plus,
Wait,
figuring out the Zoom is like,
Yeah, that's a tough one.
well, we're going to post it on YouTube too. So worst case, you can send her a link and she can watch it later. But Sarah Meredith was saying that she's heard of Jackalope, and Sarah has a great company that makes skincare products from coconut oil that she gets from the Philippines. And
Oh, amazing.
so Sarah, you should check out Jackalope because that would be perfect for you. They're doing virtual fair, like you've been doing virtual events with them, right?
I did. That was my first. It's so funny. Before all of this went down, this new world we live in, I was one of those people that obsessively covered every camera. I've never even done like a FaceTime because I was like, no, just not my thing, right?
Yep.
And theirs was the first video anything I had ever done. And now I feel like a junkie. Like after we're done, I got to Zoom with some of my girlfriends from New York, and then I'm meeting someone here. And, you're meeting everyone from all over, and it's actually been kind of magical with my friends from out of town. How we've been able to connect, that we keep a regular meeting.
Yeah.
Like I had a friend pass away, and there was a group of us that all got together while he was dying of cancer all the time because we were taking care of him. He lived in Chicago, so I would fly in, but it was we got very close, so it was like 5 or 6 of us, and we meet every Monday now, and it's so awesome because it's so easy to lose contact.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess maybe I'm also more open to like hear what the kids did this week than about like what I have to do on my schedule for my busy whatever. Fill in the blank. Yeah.
It's also, I think, harder to make an excuse. It's harder to be like, I'm at work. It's like, no, you're not. Oh, I'm going out to a movie. No, you're not.
I have plans tonight. Sorry. Yeah.
That's what I've been really busy actually. And my friends, whenever I'm like, what's a good time? And they're like, well, let me check my calendar. Oh, every hour, 24 hours a day, except for the one with kids. And she's like, after 6:30, and then mom is drinking,
like. Totally. Oh, well, and speaking of being a mama, you got a new puppy at the beginning of all this, right?
Did. I have a dog, Schnitzel, which some people, if they're tuning in and know me, Schnitzel's like my delivery dog and comes with me everywhere. They're both crashed out, so not unlike children. I'm keeping it. I'm not disturbing this, or I'd be like, look at my baby. But so Schnitzel comes with me everywhere. And during the beginning of this, my wife was on. She's a landscape architect, so she has been in the yard 24 hours a day since this happened, and the happiest person in the whole world. So she's on free Craigslist looking for logs to build a hugel culture, or another one, in my yard. So she's looking for free logs, and just came across a free dog, and it was she just turned around, she's like, oh my God, look at this. And it was a photo of a dog on a rope in the middle of a yard, and I was like, get in the car, we're gonna go get this dog. Oh. So we go and pick up the dog. They told us it was 3 years old. She was 10 weeks old. Like, I know. So I got myself a baby and house training, and one that wasn't treated really well. So she's super spoiled and super happy and growing in front of my eyes. So it's adorable. We have
what's her name?
Strudel. So we have Schnitzel and Strudel. We call her Trudy. So
Trudy. You said your mom's name is Valerie?
Yeah, Valerie.
I think Masura. She's trying to join our Zoom.
Oh, she is. Oh, sorry.
We can bring her in if you want to say.
Oh.
But that would probably freak her out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, do you know why? I sent her the code you sent me. We'll see.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out one day.
She's welcome. She's welcome, but I don't want to bring her on and freak her out.
No.
Everybody's watching you.
Well, And yeah, we'll save the mom interview for another time.
We did one recently with our friend Sashi and her mom May, so
That was great.
it was really fun.
May also makes jam.
Yeah,
Oh,
marmalade.
awesome.
Marmalade, yes. Different beast, right? Marmalade and
I
jam.
make marmalades too, but
Yeah.
yeah, very different because when I first started the company, which we'll get to the story, I suppose, because we pushed it, but I was working on marmalades really hard. It was just failure. Like it's really difficult, actually, especially if you don't use commercial pectin. Like if you try to make your own, and I was trying to do it like as nerdy as possible. It was in full foodie days where I was like squeezing out. Yeah, but it was very labor intensive love. But total failures, and I was kind of giving up. And I took a class with June Taylor up in San Francisco. She's kind of like a jam goddess of all jam goddesses, but really nerdy. And I took this class, and I now have I should just send her some marmalade, I suppose. I perfected it, but after I left the class, there was this one moment where it was a small class, like maybe 10 of us, that I took with me because she had a girl cooking behind us, and we were all like taking part of the class, and you're cutting stuff, and she's talking about the process. And she stops and turns to the girl and was just like, Susan, we do not cook spoons. And like pulled a spoon out of the pot, and she had like the spoon in the pot. And I never realized that I personally would be a wooden spoon in the pot keeper until that moment. So every time I'll pass by and my spoon's still sticking in there, I'm just like, Laura, we do not cook spoons here in Laura Ann's Jam kitchen. We cook jam. But,
It'd be a side business.
Wonderful boss lady moments, right?
That's awesome. I love that.
So tell us how your company got started.
Well, I was a foodie making jams and just doing it for fun. I had moved to Los Angeles, oh gosh, a while ago now. It's probably been like 18 or more years.
Wow.
No, maybe not that long. A while. It's been a while. And because I've had my company for 10 years, so maybe more like 13, 14. Anywho, so I moved to California from the Midwest, and I was so fascinated with how there was fruit everywhere. It's something like if you're from here, I guess you would take for granted that there's a fruit tree in your backyard, and it just blew my mind, that I could go in my backyard and get oranges every day, all day. So I'm obsessively, or like cook things like the farmer's market. There was all these different weird exotic fruits. And in Chicago with my mom, my whole family, every year we would go fruit picking. Like it was a regular thing. So, every summer we would go to a raspberry farm or a strawberry farm, get our strawberries and raspberries, spend the whole weekend cooking, put up jars and jars and jars of jam and use them all year. When you do stuff like that as a kid, you just assume that that's what everybody does. It would never occur to me to buy jam because you always have some. I don't know.
Right.
That's just my family. Too bad my mom's not on. But so we would do that every year. So it just seemed normal to me that there was all this fruit. So I compulsively had to make jam with it. And I just started making jam and experimenting and trying all these different recipes. I worked at a restaurant, and I would bring them to the restaurant because I can't eat 12 jars of jam. The one thing about making jam is it's not like you're making like one little jar. I've made some recipes where you could make like some for the refrigerator, like smaller recipes for cookbooks and stuff. But in general, you're making, like if you're doing the canning process, you're making a lot. So I would bring them to work and just put them on the table sell them for $5 to my coworkers. And my boss bought a breakfast place called Square One Dining, and they used and he was like, "Oh, I bought this breakfast place. You know, you should make the jams for my breakfast place." And I was just like, "Okay." So story of my life. Okay, sure. You know, and I started making the jams for Square One. Just like I would just go into the kitchen, make a batch of jam, and then people asked for it to be put, like to buy it. Like, oh wow, this jam's amazing. Can I buy a jar? So then I started making small jars, and then the small jars made it to the shelves. And one day, Los Angeles Magazine came in and bought one off the shelf. And I got voted Best of LA, and I was in the Best of LA issue. And
Which is a
when
huge deal for people who don't live in LA. That's like
That's a huge deal.
it's
like
huge.
every
I
year
had
the
no idea.
magazine puts out a list of the best of like everything, you know, dry cleaners, movie theaters, whatever it is. But like to get on, imagine how many people make jam in the
I
state of
know.
Los Angeles.
Well, that's what they
Los
said.
Angeles.
That they took it off and put it into the taste test, and the taste test was like 65 jams or something, like just from Los Angeles.
Wow.
And they, because I remember when the fact checker called me, she was like, "Oh, you know, where can we get your jams?" And at the time, like, "Oh, you know, they're at Square One, or I work at the Redwood. I got them in my bag. You can, you know, if you come in during brunch when I'm bartending, like, I could come to you." And the lady on the phone, I should have gotten her name all these years later. She was like, "Could you maybe a website or something so you seem real? Because we're about to publish this in Los Angeles Magazine." And of course, I'm like, "Okay, sure, I'll make a website," which crashed the, you know, 2 days after the article
Sure.
went live, of course, because I didn't understand what was happening and just tossed up like a little GoDaddy thing with a shopping cart. And now look at
Now you're the queen of jam.
yeah.
Sarah's asking, is that breakfast place still open? Is that restaurant still open?
That's an excellent question. They are over, you know what? I need to check. And
Right.
this is something that we all need to do. Like the places that you love and appreciate, you need to go check. And if they need your support, buy from them. They haven't been buying jams from me for quite a few years, actually.
Mm-hmm.
They just moved on to like other local people. They're one of those people that always like source new local things, and I respect that a lot. So as I grew, they didn't come with me, but that's okay. Maybe another day I'll go back. But I'm not positive if Square One's still around. I know that they opened a second location near that Trader Joe's on Hyperion.
Oh yeah.
So and then the owner, which is the place I worked at, was Gingergrass in Silver Lake. It was a Vietnamese restaurant.
Oh yeah.
So
Down
he
the
has
street.
a few restaurants, all of whom, if everybody could throw them some money, John's a good guy, and I highly recommend supporting any of his restaurants.
Someone named Aviva Dawn, who we assume knows you, says that maybe you moved here in like 2008, 2009.
Ah,
slash
thanks,
10.
Aviva.
Just to help fill that in.
Thanks, girl.
Yeah, and Sarah says Gingergrass is still open. That much we know.
Okay, good. Yeah,
Good.
order some food from them.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
great.
I used to stay at Aviva's house when I was in the rock band. So.
Well, that's a
lived
good
in Maine.
segue into telling people about the rock band too.
Yeah.
I used to be in a rock band.
What did you play?
I was in more than one rock band though, but most of my touring was with one. Oh, actually, I played drums. I guess technically I still do, but I haven't in so long. But I might be called upon. So during the pandemic, my very first band that was called Motorhome.
Motorhome?
One of the two people in my band unearthed like a 7-inch and made a little video that I actually put on my Facebook just recently, because people ask all the time, like, "Can I hear your band?" I'm like, "It's so a Motorhome." I'm like, it's so dated and 90s, but delightful. So they played the single and did a little video montage of photos from when we were young and cute. And so then we all started talking via Facebook Messenger, more things I'm new to. So we were talking, and they found all these old tapes, and so we're sending each other our little 4-track tapes. And there might be a reunion. We're talking about maybe recording some of our old songs, and I guess we were influential to some other band that's a big deal that I've never heard of now that I just smile and nod, like, oh, right,
Yeah, I
the
love them.
DJ. Yeah, I know her. Sure, I do. But I guess I'm super influential in the
Of course you are.
the shoegaze era.
So what was the name of the band? Motorhome? Is that what you said?
Motorhome. Yeah, I think there might have been a couple motorhomes after us, but
There always are.
It's a good name.
I know.
Aviva Dawn says you are amazing on drums.
Oh, it's true. It's true. There really isn't anything that I'm not good at, but
So far, so good.
yeah, so far so good.
So is there a Facebook page for Motorhome and where people can find out more about the band?
Oh,
Make sure to see the Zoom.
Yes, I think so. The other guy that was in the band is still in bands, and he's a producer. His name's Josiah. He's in a band called Light FM. I know that they're still happening, but I think he put some Motorhome stuff up at one point. I'm sure we're out on Spotify or one of those things, but
All right.
I haven't been really paying attention, which is unfortunate but true.
We'll try and find a link for it and post it in
And
the
post
comments
it,
after.
yeah.
Oh, you guys. I know they're going to be like, oh my God, all of a sudden 10 people listen to Motorhome.
Exactly. I gotta say, this is like our biggest audience so far, and I don't know if it was the word jam or the word booze.
Yeah.
That has drawn such a crowd.
Yeah.
Here's
Welcome, jam, boozy people. Speaking of which, I should make a cocktail.
Yeah, let's do the cocktail thing.
It's, you know what, it's so easy that I almost feel bad being like, let's do the thing, because I just want to do it so I can have a cocktail.
That's good.
And I love that I'm home. I just turn around and there's a spoon right here.
Well, if it's not there, it's in your pot.
This is my kitchen. I'm sitting in my kitchen.
All right, I'm gonna go on speaker view so that you're big, like it's the food.
Oh,
network.
okay.
Yeah.
So now you're full screen.
And now I'm full screen. Okay. Well, I'm still teeny to me, so I'm just rolling with it.
Go for it.
So, where do I start? Ingredients. I sent you guys the recipe that I was going to do.
Yes.
So
Which we will post after the fact.
I made some orange juice.
You made the orange juice?
I did from the oranges that came from my friends. When I went to my friend's ranch, it was way out in, I don't even know where the heck I was. It was an hour and a half away. And she was just like, oh, hey, I have some oranges for you. And I was passing by all these orchards that had the side of the road stand ones. And I'm like, oh my God, how funny. I almost stopped. If I wouldn't have been running a little late, I would have had a bag of oranges ready. So we picked oranges from her tree.
Oh, nice.
So I have a Browsy Acres
Nice.
orange juice. And so I made some orange juice.
Do you have a machine to juice things, or do you do it by hand?
Yes, this is it.
Wow.
Here's my machine.
Oh, cool.
So kind of. I squeeze them all one by one.
Wow.
And that's my workout routine. Let me see, where can I start? So it's kind of a twist on a whiskey smash, but I wanted to do something with orange juice. And the great thing about jams is you can use like almost any spirit and mix it in, and it takes the place of fruit because it's preserved. So, no matter what season, you have a perfect fruit, whatever one you're looking for. And then it also has the sugars and citrus in it. So with few exceptions, that's pretty much the base of like most cocktails that you're making. So you don't need the simple syrup. You don't need some of my stuff's a little complicated where it has, like the one I'm using today is a cherry Manhattan Magic. It has cherry, rye whiskey, sweet vermouth, and bitters in the jam.
Oh, wow.
So, but it's basically a cherry jam.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm making cocktails with jam, I try to start with the jam. And hold on, let's just go with my cute packaging. Look,
And I love it. So tying in the rock and roll theme.
That's right. It's a little record. I love that.
That was what caught my eye as I was walking through the Jackalope Fair. Nancy and our sister Lisa were on their way to the car, and I was cutting through Jackalope, and it was like we had done we thought we had done everything, but we were like, we got to go. Walking through, I'm like, why does that jam company have a vinyl record on their label? So I thought that I talked to your mother, Valerie, because you weren't there. But
Yeah, I was probably getting snack. That cookie truck, man, gets me every time. Okay, so nice big spoon of jam. I'm kind of cut off. Hi, everybody. I'm still here. So,
sorry, can I back up for a second? When you say a big spoon, I missed how big a spoon.
Oh, this is a bar spoon, and I just took a big hunk of jam and threw it in there. And, you know, as jammy as you want it. I like booze, so I make mine a little more boozy. I usually start with the spirit and the jam. So just like a shot of whiskey. I think I put 2 ounces on
Notice
your
you went above that white line on the glass there.
I did, because that's 1.5.
Okay.
So, you know, like a shot would be the white part, and then what they would call a jigger would be all the way up to the top, which is 1.5.
I never knew that's what a jigger was.
Yeah, it is. Yes, now you know. We've learned something already. So, and then I'm also doing, my mom's not here, Grand Marnier for my mom, because she puts a splash of Grand Marnier in everything, but mostly her coffee.
Nice.
So I just do a little bit, you know, little bit of orange. If you don't have Grand Marnier, you can use triple sec, depending on what you have in your house.
Okay.
And then I just give it a little mix, which since I'm using a cocktail shaker, I can just show you. I just kind of mixed it up, and that's what's in here. So it's already kind of a syrup consistency. So if you use the warm one, it's a little easier than if you put the jam over your ice first. Because you could do it in any order, because you're going to shake it anyway. I mean, as long as but it just makes it where you don't have to shake it as much.
Okay. Aileen says you're a girl after her own heart.
I know. What, extra booze? No. Okay, so also, you know, I think I did tablespoons, because most people have like measuring devices. If you don't have a shot glass or a way to measure this, just do tablespoons, like 2 or 3 tablespoons. But same thing with the orange juice. So you have booze, jam, juice. I'm just putting a little extra in there because that's me. And then you put I put a scoop of ice. I'm not sure if you saw that. And then you do your normal shaking. And this particular one, I use the ice that's already in here. Like I just take the top off. You could, because I like the little jam pieces, you could strain it if you want it more clear and like a martini type look to it. But I just dumped the whole thing in the glass. And like this in itself could be a cocktail. But I also, where's my, sorry.
So good.
I'm in soda stream. Again, it's nice that I'm in my house because my soda stream.
Oh.
And then I just do a splash of soda, you know?
Wow.
And then you take an orange that someone gave you from their farm.
Of course, because we all have that.
That she plucked off the thing. It's funny because Rhonda's actually like a big movie star now. And so I'm like on her farm and she's like plucking the oranges and I had to kind of laugh. So I'm just like, I love all this service.
It does. Lisa Barbosa says that looks so refreshing, and it does.
It is. And you know what? And you could do a small glass like this guy that I have, or you can do like a tall glass and do more soda water. So it's more like a spritzer.
Oh, nice.
And, gosh, sorry, I wasn't prepared because I was going to do the whole like cherry and the, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Make it really fancy.
Throw it in there. We all need to prioritize.
So a couple people.
Everybody, ching, ching, ching.
Cheers.
So a couple people just joined in the middle of that. So can you just run through the ingredients again?
I can.
I want to make sure people know about the flavor of jam you used and everything too.
Oh, I used a cherry jam, but for this, since it's a twist on a whiskey smash, you can use cherry, you can use blackberry, you can use a bourbon blood orange. I mean, you could go spicy and do like a raspberry habanero with bourbon would be great. Or even like the same basic recipe, as I'm saying, it's so easy. You could change up the spirit. So if you're a vodka gal and you want to do vodka orange juice with cherry jam, yes, please, that would be delightful. And then you add the soda water to make it more of like a bubbly spritzer, and voila, you've got yourself a cocktail. It's so funny. I've been working on a cocktail book, and most of the recipes are so easy that I was just kind of like, gosh, should I totally dig into like my super nerdy mixology and try to make it more difficult? Because every single recipe was just like jam, booze, juice, ta-da, flash of soda.
That should be the title.
But people like simple recipes, so that's good.
I know. But do you know what I'm thinking about doing? Well, I'm in the middle of writing it, so I think where I'm going to go with it is I'm going to have a non-alcoholic cocktail, a punch, a complicated cocktail that I have some of my foofy bartender friends help me with, with like weird to find spirits. Because it's always fun to do those, but of course you read this and they have some like limited edition Amaro that only has like the bark of a tree that's in one person's yard, and you have to be on a waiting list for 4 years to get the bitters. Like some of us just like to make a drink.
I just want to get wasted, people.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is noon. Come on.
That's right. That's 5 o'clock in quarantine time.
Exactly. 9 a.m. is 5 o'clock in quarantine time. Aviva says, make sure you have some mocktails in your book.
Of course I will.
Yeah.
I will have mocktails. I'm going to have punches. Well, and there's a lot of, actually, like this whole thing, you could totally do that without, you could just do like an orange spritzer and mix some jam in. Aviva, actually, she's the second star of the show today. She recently posted that she put maple pumpkin butter in her tea, and that's how she sweetens her tea, is like with the jams. And that's
like, one of your jams, the maple pumpkin butter.
Yes, it is. She's a good friend.
She is a good friend.
You better not be using another jam.
Aviva, please confirm.
I'll talk to her. She's my friend I'm Zooming with later, so cheater.
Oh, okay.
Twice in one day.
Aviva, she's going to be at least 1 or 2 cocktails in by the time she gets to you. So
hilarious by then.
We have a question, which is, does Laura Ann have any sugar-free jams?
Funny, you should say that, and I can't believe that I don't have them here with me. It hasn't dropped yet, but I guess I can announce it here. I've been working on and just made a lo-fi series. So my lo-fi series includes a sugar-free strawberry jam, a blueberry jam, and I did a Marionberry version because I was really trying to cater a little bit to like all my friends that are doing the keto diet. So I wanted to make sure that I used fruit that was like the lowest carb and all that type of stuff. And
Right.
Cool.
I used grape juice instead of sugar. There's like no added sugar. There's still grams of sugar because it's fruit.
Right.
When you look at the label, they're like, there's still sugar in here. I'm like, well, it's fruit.
Right.
Yeah, fruit
Right,
has sugar.
But you know how people feel about science these days.
Yeah.
No one believes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Science.
So the grape juice that's in the sugar-free jam is like juice from grapes. It's not like store-bought grape juice. Just to clarify, everything you make is like you make the grape juice, I would imagine.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Well,
So
our diabetic viewer, Lisa Barbosa, is like freaking out right now. She's
Give me till next week because I haven't even taken photos of them. It's that new.
Wow.
I've had the labels designed, and they're so cute and gorgeous that I've been super excited about it. But I just got the labels, and I like perfected the jams, and the jams have just been waiting. And then and then I don't know. They haven't launched, but probably next week. I was thinking about it. I have a lot. I just feel like I'm bombarding people. Like today I'm doing a contest where I did a box with I'm trying to feature other local makers because everybody, especially restaurant people, everyone's just been hit so hard, and
Yeah.
I'm really, really trying to support my friends. So it started with a box where I did a peanut butter and jelly sandwich where I'm addicted to Breakfast Queen. Are you down with the Breakfast Queen at all?
I
No.
don't know what that
Okay.
is.
Tell us more.
Girl in Silver Lake that makes these like secret nut butters, and it's almost like a cult club. And same thing, like where you email her and she has a basket outside of her house with a post-it with your name on it. Yeah, so the Breakfast Queen, Lucy, who I adore, I just was like, I'm so into your nut butters. Do you want to do like one of those little Instagram giveaway things? And then my other friend, Heather, Madame Sugar, that makes vegan, gluten-free cookies. I was like, let's just make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'll put it in a box, throw it on my site. And it was kind of just like an afterthought because I just wanted to buy from them. I'm like, okay, girls, give me 12 of each. And here, I want to pay you full price. Like, I just want to support you right now. And I put them on my site and they're gone in like seconds. And then I had to reorder. And then I reordered again, like within a couple of weeks. And they were like, girl, I'm like, I don't know. I never did. Like, I've never really done like a gift box on my site. So I just launched today a vanilla one where I used also a jackalope vendor that I met, the Pop Candy, the peanut brittle people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I used her like vanilla peanut brittle, and then Breakfast Queen like vanilla cashew butter, and then both of my jams, the Peachy Queen, which is peach, vanilla, and Grand Marnier, and my strawberry vanilla bean. So it's kind of like a vanilla lover's box. So I just launched that, and so I feel like I was doing all these new things, and I was like, gosh, should I launch the sugar-free thing? And of course, all my friends.
Yes,
like,
please.
yes, you should. Launch it. Stop
Definitely.
thinking about it.
Definitely.
And I'm like, okay.
We have some new people that have joined, so I'm just going to say that Laura Ann made her cocktail. We're going to include, and that's it, and it looks delicious. And we're going to put the recipe on the feed later so that anybody who wants the recipe, who missed the demo, can get the recipe. And also we'll post this video on YouTube. So we'll put that link in here too. So if you need to go back, well, it'll still be up here too. You can go back and see her whip it up. It took no time at all. And
I know, sorry.
No, it's great. Love it. I think that's a positive. That's a good thing.
I do too. I do too.
Well,
I'm not like a kitchen person. I don't like to spend a lot of time in the kitchen. So I look at a recipe, and if it's got like 3 ingredients, I'm all over it. Like, so it's good.
It's also fun too, because I find people, when you have just like a little bit of jam left, I mean, you could do it right in the jar with like the stuff that's the little nugs that are left at the bottom. Throw a shot of vodka in there, shake it up, and pour it into a glass. Ta-da! That's a good way to clean your jars out.
Yeah, that's the only reason I'm having a cocktail right now. Is I'm just cleaning on my
just cleaning my jars.
Hey, if anybody has questions for Laura Ann, put them in the comments and we'll ask them.
Yes.
So tell us about your process for creating your flavors, because you have such awesome, unique flavors.
Thank you. It's always, us foodies, you're always thinking of things, and it really is inspiration. It's so funny, like how much my culinary artistry is like the music was. It really like never ceases to amaze me about like how similar all of the fine arts are, right? So like you'll see something, or you'll go somewhere, or you'll taste something, and I always joke that I'm like that Portlandia skit where they're like, oh, I could pickle that, I'm like, I can make a jam out of that. What a great idea. I never thought of blueberry and basil together. Ew, that sounds disgusting. I should try that. But I'm totally an adventurous eater. I'm one of those people that if I read something on a menu that sounds confusing or really gross, we're like, ew, you know, like Salt and Straw. They're the kings of that.
Mhm.
Where you're like, goat cheese olive brittle. Ugh, I need to try that. I'll take a pint of that home. And as you're eating it, you're like confused and happy. And so, so a
I have
lot
one
of that,
exception to that is the time that I got the bacon fat ice cream.
Oh yeah.
You know that little ice cream place? There's it's on the funky end of Melrose, more like toward Los Feliz end of Melrose, kind of behind the City College. There's this little side street.
Scoops.
What is it? Scoops.
Scoops.
Yes.
I also had a not delicious experience there with a squid ink ice cream
Oh yeah.
that I
Mm.
had to try, and I'm
Yeah.
glad I tried it because now I know that I do not like it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the first taste of
Toast to
the bacon fat ice cream was really
Delicious.
good.
Yep.
And then so I got the whole thing, and by the like fourth bite, it was just like licking a frying pan. It was disgusting. But usually their ice creams are good. I
Yeah,
love
they
squid.
have the other ice creams that are absolutely delicious, but that one
Yep.
wasn't a winner.
Yeah, but squid ink sounds scary.
Mm.
Well, but again, like I'm totally that one that's like, I'm in, you know. Gosh, I forgot one of the Top Chef people back when people, is that even on anymore? He had a place downtown where you could get like a whole pig's head or something
yeah,
like that. And I have some foodie friends that we go out for dinner. And of course, like the craziest things on the menu were just like, we're in. And that was another one where I was like, why did I really lean more towards vegetables in general. So it's like comes to the table and I was like, I'm gonna jump in here, but why?
Yeah, I can't do the eye anything looking at me thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I draw the line.
Well, that's why you got to go for the eyeballs first and just. Sorry. All right. Sorry.
I apologize to any vegans listening. Tuned in. So yeah, so you just if a flavor combination sounds wild, then you'll try it. And will you keep at it until you get it right, or do you just like go, oh yeah, that's not going to work?
Sometimes, yeah. There's been a lot of times that things sounded like a great idea, but you have to, again, like jam making are these huge batches with few exceptions. So honing that craft, like the craft of food testing, right? The one I can think of the most that I have like an example is I did a apricot ginger, and I was making it very specifically for a bartender at the Roosevelt that wanted to do a whiskey apricot ginger cocktail. And I was like, oh, I got you, girl. I'll make you. And she's like, yeah, we'll put a spoon. And I was like, sounds great. I'll make you a jam. So I really wanted the ginger to be in there, and I wanted it to like pop, but not be too gingery.
Mm-hmm.
Or like how dried ginger almost tastes like dry in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So that experiment, I would have to dig. I might actually have photos. So I did a base jam, like an apricot jam, and had all these different jars out, right? And every type of ginger, like I chopped ginger, I sliced ginger, I did candied ginger, I did powdered ginger, because I knew that that's the flavor combination I wanted. But coming up with like the texture, I'm really, really sensitive to making sure that everything complements each other and continues to complement each other. And I also want them to work in cocktails, so I don't want them to be too gelatinous. So the texture is very important to me. And I want them to pair with cheeses. I am also a graduate of the Cheese School of San Francisco. I don't know if you know that.
I did not know that. Tell us more.
I have some cheese credentials.
Cheese credentials.
I do. Oh, I went
Do they have
there
holes
because
in them?
they were the they're the only place in the country at that time when I went like 8 or 9 years ago that gave you an actual like credentialed certificate of cheese knowledge, cheesemongerism, whatever. so I went up there with my friend Terry from Fanciful Baskets and up on Melrose. We went to cheese school together, and it was delightful. Spent a whole weekend, and unlimited knowledge. So yeah, So I'm always thinking of it pairing with cheeses and whether or not it would work in a cocktail and what kind of cocktail.
Right.
I mean, the apple butter I made because it's grandma's recipe. I mean, obviously there's always exceptions to the rules of like a really strict thought process. I mean, there's definitely I've got to bust out grandma's recipe kind of a thing. Or I don't know. I suppose I shouldn't talk about things I don't have on my line, but I did make my mom a blueberry almond just because she's like, when you're making blueberry, will you make me that blueberry almond you made that one time? You know, so mom gets whatever she wants. So a bunch of these on the side of in my packaging. So here's, I don't know if you can see, here's my package. But on the side, there's like a little story.
Oh, nice.
I autograph them, you know, whatever. So
Love that.
a lot of the stories might be like, my mom this and my mom that. So mom was an inspiration for a lot of the jams.
That's awesome.
Y'all read about if you become addicted to my stuff.
Oh, you will.
So, yeah,
You will.
the Peachy Queen was for her. A bunch of the other ones. The apple butter is my great grandma's recipe.
I love that.
There's a new one that I have out that's a peach samba. So it's like a peach with jalapeno. And that one's brand new. See, that's what I mean. I'm like, I'm dropping too many jams. You could be like, someone's been in the kitchen during the pandemic.
It's a
Everyone
jam.
else is making bread. I'm making jam. No.
It's a jam-demic.
Yeah.
That's right. Everyone's got to do their part, and my part has been just canning.
Jamming out the jam.
Been,
so you have a really cool claim to fame that not a lot of people have, that has to do with a certain game show.
Oh, my Jeopardy appearance.
Yes.
I know. It's so awesome. I should try to find it and like share the screen or whatever. So I had no idea, which this is another thing. I was a fact checker. My first job when I came to Los Angeles, I was a fact checker for LA.com. Do you even remember that? It was here for like a second and left.
Yep.
So when I first came here, they would send me out to like events and I would just follow the photographer around and take people's names and stuff. But I was new to Los Angeles and they sent me to every event. I got to go to the coolest places, the coolest people. And then I fact checked and just, which I find funny because I'm like the worst speller. And I'm like, you're having me fact check stuff? Okay. So it didn't get fact checked. So, right? Sorry, all of you Jeopardy people. I'm getting someone in trouble. So my aunt calls me. So I'm just home. My great aunt, not even like my aunt, my great aunt from the East Coast calls and was like, Lori, I think I saw you on Jeopardy. And I was like, no, there's no way. That wasn't. And she's like, I don't know. I left the room, but I would have sworn they said Lori and Jams. I'm like, no. And then it hit Chicago, and that's where I'm from. And everybody's calling and freaking out and like, oh my God, you're on Jeopardy. And I was like, what? And I called and told my mom, and she's in Arizona, and that was a whole hour before. So by the time it was on, she like called as if I hadn't told her it was coming. Like, oh my God, you're on Jeopardy. I'm like, I know, I told you. I thought that, like when she called and started like screaming, I thought something was wrong. I'm like, what happened? Like, you're on TV. I'm like, okay. So I was waiting like for it to come on, and I went to my friend's house. So it was kind of cool that I got 3 hours notice to like slap myself in front of the TV. But it was a double Jeopardy question.
Wow.
And it was about a jam that at the time I hadn't made in 2 or 3 years. Wow. It was for the strawberry Syrah, which is back on the line if anybody wants it, because Jeopardy brought her back. And it was, what was it? Like Laura, well, first of all, Alex Trebek said my name because the name is the company, right? So it's like Laura Ann's Jams has what was it? Like a jam infused with Syrah with this, the Genius Fragaria or whatever. But it's so funny because I'm like, rewind that, and I just kept making Alex Trebek say, Laura Ann's Jam.
Did you make it your ringtone?
I should. Oh God, good idea. Yeah, audio nerds, reach out to me. He's going to edit that down for a ringtone.
That'd be awesome.
I know.
You've reached Laura Ann's Jam.
I know, exactly. But yeah, and it's so funny because I've had other amazing press, thank you, universe. And so, like, Oprah Winfrey did a short film about me when she first started the OWN network. And that was another one where they called and was like, we're from the OWN network. And I was just, I don't care. I'm like, sure, you want to go to the farmer's market? You want to film me? Okay, come on, let's go. And I Googled like OWN network. And at the time she still had, because it was the first season, or when they first launched where it was only online. And so she still had the show in Chicago.
Right.
And so I Googled it and then was just like, oh my God, I'm doing a film for the Oprah Winfrey Network. You've got to be kidding me. So that was that, yeah.
That's amazing.
Is that still online anywhere? Have you seen
Yeah,
that?
I put it on my site. It's on YouTube now. It used, and I think it used to go into the OWN network, and I'm assuming they just needed the band space and took a bunch of the old films and put them out there. But they made it, it doesn't talk about my business a lot. It talks more about me. Like, I used to be in a rock band and now I make jam. You know, it was a feel good video about moving from rock and roll into jam.
Yeah.
And it's super cute. I love it. Actually, it features stories, a place that I ended up working for later. And I don't know.
So cool.
Very magical little time. And
all right, we'll post a link to that too, because we know everybody's not going to be able to get enough of you in just an hour. We've got one comment from Aileen that says, "Where have you been all my life?"
Oh.
And Lisa said, "Right? You've got new fans."
I love that. Again, going back to like how all the arts are really similar, right? Like being able to connect with people is really important, but if your product sucks, like sure, yeah, I could be on the cover of Rolling Stone, but if my album stinks, you're not going to remember my band, right?
Right.
Yep.
So all of these wonderful press things I've had have been amazing, and I'm grateful to the universe and God and everything for giving it to me. But my product is everything. It's everything. It's like going back to the Passionistas. Let's bring this all around. I'm so passionate about making sure that every bite is delicious. Strudel. Sorry, not strudel, but if he gets her going, it's all over. What? Who's out there? Are we getting a package? Yeah. I know.
That's exciting.
It's very exciting. Oh God. There you go. Anyway.
But yeah, if you're passionate about it, I mean, you clearly are. I mean, every time we talk to you, it's just like you get so excited. It's like you get more and more excited as the conversation goes on, and you think of other parts of, you know. Oh, and
I know. Well, because the way it all like works together, it makes sense. It makes sense, and I think the way you connect to people, whether it's like food or nourishing them with like song, or like when you're passionate about something, it always comes through.
Yeah.
I have a girlfriend that's her mom has Alzheimer's right now, and she's been staying in the home where she's at, and they have a piano. And so she sits and plays the piano for everybody every day. And she's like, I'm not really a piano player, but I know enough chords, and she's a guitar player, that she knew enough chords to play, you know, Stand By Me and a bunch of like standard things. And people would come out and just start crying because she was really joyfully putting this out. And I feel very similar about what I do. I'm very joyfully putting out a food product. I love that I'm nourishing people. Oh my gosh. With the pandemic, and I don't know if it's because everybody's home and feeling like a little more grateful, or they have more time to write letters to the person that they just ordered something from. But I've been getting a lot of just like beautiful thank you cards, or people sending gifts to other friends, and then them writing me back to tell me like how the other person reacted to what they got and what they're using it on. So it's been really wonderful in this like crazy way. And like I always feel very honored to like be able to share what I do with other people.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got to pick this guy up. Hey,
Oh, do it. Do it.
everybody. I know.
In the midst
Well, maybe
of
if
the
I.
dance of the
So
song.
here's the new baby.
Oh,
This is Strudel.
Hi,
She's
Strudel.
not barking because she's a good girl.
Oh, hi,
I
Strudel.
love the markings on her head are amazing.
Beautiful.
I know it's like a little fork. It's like a cocktail fork. It makes you want. Makes you want to
Destined.
olive.
Don't leave her in a pot.
Oh,
Makes me want an
excellent.
olive. But no, Schnitzel's my little.
I know talking to you is making me hungry.
I
just
know,
wanna
me too.
Sorry.
Me
Get
too.
a piece of crusty bread and a whole box of your jams and lay down.
Mm.
Or some Effie's homemade crackers. Ugh.
Mm.
I know. Sorry, everybody.
That's okay.
Well, how can everyone go and get these jams? Tell us about your website and your social and all that.
Laura Ann's Jams everything. LauraAnn'sJams.com, Laura Ann's Jams Instagram, Facebook. More things I learned as a musician. Before you decide on a band name, you check everything and make sure that nobody took it. Get your copyright in immediately. Right?
Yeah.
Very smart.
Business stuff. But I was surprised. Well, I guess I wasn't surprised. Like Laura Ann's Jams wasn't taken, but I just Laura Ann's Jams, but it's the S. Don't forget that's Laura Ann's Jams.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Laura Ann's
Apostrophe S.
Jams.
Jams. No apostrophe in the social media.
Well, and some people forget that it's like while you're typing, like the double A.
Two A's.
2 A's.
Yep.
No
The
E.
little, like, yeah, no E.
Yeah.
But I have a sneaking suspicion that if you Google me, you'll find me pretty easily.
I think so.
Yeah.
Even if you spell it wrong,
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm out there.
Yep.
I'm out there.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I
Excellent.
know. It's fun. It's great. I'm so, I don't know. I'm so grateful. I have such great clients. Again, I'm worried about a lot of the restaurant clients with what's
Yeah.
going on. Like one of my clients was Musso and Frank's, and I just reached out to the head chef and was like just checking in on everybody. Like I know everybody there.
Yeah.
So,
How are
how's
they?
the whole crew? Good, I mean, it's such a big place. It's not like a place where you could do carry out.
Right.
Although I was joking, I'm like, you should just do carry out martinis and you guys will be fine.
I know.
Yeah, for those people that aren't from LA or haven't visited LA, most people who visited even know about Musso and Frank's. It's the oldest restaurant, right?
I think so.
I think close to
Yeah.
it. Yeah, for sure.
And it like looks the same as it ever has. The staff has worked there their whole lives. The menu hasn't changed. It's all these great like old school, dinner, dancing and dinner kind of menus. I always think of like meat and potatoes and their martinis are legendary. But it's on Hollywood Boulevard and it's huge, and so it's not one of the places out here where it's like, oh yeah, we'll just do curbside pickup.
It was one of the first places, because I also have a restaurant management background. In addition to my jam company, I've been running restaurants this whole time. But when this happened, like everybody else, I was laid off like everybody else, like immediately, like boop. So we're closing, we're done. My bosses closed a little earlier than everybody else because they were watching what was happening and they were really concerned about us getting sick because they're wonderful, amazing hippies.
So
I love
nice.
them. God bless them, because I wish we all would have jumped on it 2 weeks earlier and maybe a lot less people would have died. Whole nother story, whole nother show.
Yeah.
But Musso and Frank's is humongous. Even if you've been inside, it's really big inside.
Yeah.
But the kitchen, like as a industry person, when you walk in there, you don't see kitchens like this, like huge ceilings and like I don't even know, like 50 grills. Like it's enormous. It must be like a half a electricity block, like just the kitchen. It's huge.
Wow.
You get a chance, like if you go back by the bathrooms and you like go out where the valet is,
Mm-hmm.
go to the right and be like, oops, wrong door, but just look. Like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then you can be like, I love all you guys. Okay, bye.
So does it run the length, like from the street to the parking lot? Does it run that direction?
It's okay. I might be exaggerating a tiny bit, but
but yeah.
So big.
Wow,
it's bigger than most of the restaurants I've worked in, like the complete square footage, just the kitchen. So I mean, when this first started, as a manager, the first thing I thought is, even with to go, they can't afford to turn their lights on for real. Like just those neon lights and like what it would cost to turn their electricity on every day.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be able to afford it. And they serve steaks. So how do you gauge? Oh, God, my heart just breaks. Because I mean, how do you gauge even like being able to order or source, and how many are you going to sell? Like, you're taking such a gamble doing the carry out. Are people going to call? Are they going to show up for you? So to everybody out there, show up for your places that you want to keep in business. I've been very conscious. I mean, I've been very money conscious because we all are a little scared. And we all want to make sure that if the economy really collapses, that we have a little something to hold on to, or, you know, I don't know about the rest of you, but my garden is bumping. I went out there and planted my garden, and I've got kale, I've got lettuce, I've got
We're coming to your place.
I was totally ready. I'm not quite a conspiracy theory person, but I was ready. I was watching all the news from around the world, and I had 50 pounds of potatoes in my base. And I froze all of these, all the strawberries and berries. I grabbed a bunch of organic stuff from where I get massive amounts for jam. I pinched them up for myself because I was like, well, if I want to stay healthy, I want to have a smoothie every day. So I bought cases of strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, and just froze them in like little instant smoothie things.
So smart.
You're so smart.
It's not all good looks, ladies. I got a little bit going on up here. You know what I'm saying?
Complete package. I'm intrigued by the fact that you just said you have a basement.
Well, it's a garage, but I call it a basement because I'm from Chicago.
All right, because we don't have basements.
We don't have basements out here.
The further I get into this cocktail, my accent's getting a little thicker.
Love it.
I'm like, I'm from Chicago.
I'm from Chicago. You got a problem with that, Pally?
That's over here, everybody. Come on. Strawberries. Okay.
Yes, Aileen, we will post links to everything at the end of this for sure. We want to make sure everybody knows how to get in touch with Laura and get her jams. Get her sugary jams now. Get her sugary-free jams as soon as she
sugar-free.
Introduces them to the world.
They're sugary-free. I like that. It makes it a little less, like a little more bubbly.
Yeah. Feel free to use it. It's our
Sugar-free.
But
it hasn't launched yet, so
soon we're going to watch for it, and let us know when it launches, and we will announce it on our pages.
Next week, because who asked for it? I'm sorry, who's my new super fan?
Lisa Barbosa.
Yeah, Lisa. It's all about you, girl. I got you.
No, always.
I'm like, chicka chicka choo.
Lisa's also a crochet queen, and she says that she could make a crochet jam cozies.
Oh,
for your boxes.
Good.
Keep that in mind.
I have so much crochet in my house, girl.
Are you a crocheter?
No. My mom is. You know what's funny? Like, that's a superpower that I bet if I tapped into my youth, because I know that we all crocheted when I was a kid, and I just moved on to cooking or whatever. But my mom always, I mean, all of my blankets on my couch, like, I've got the coolest patterns. So I come from a crochet family, and girl, that's some work.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll take some crochet cozies all day long.
That'd be awesome.
All day long. If she was to send me a couple, like we could do like a little, like, special, like only this week only, you get a special koozie to keep it nice and warm.
There you go.
Oh, love it.
Like it. Hooking up
Excellent.
Passionistas left and right. Their mission.
Oh, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Well, that's something that's really important.
Mhm.
I feel like a lot of people have been reaching out to me for like blogs and lifestyle stuff lately, and I can't express to people enough like how important community is and how important it is to share your knowledge. No matter how famous or whatever the heck it is that I am, I'm just me and I'm just rolling with it. And this week everyone's ordering, and that's awesome. And next week maybe no one will, and that's awesome too. But you know, if someone's starting even like a new jam company, you can reach out to me. I'll tell you how to make labels. I'll tell you like what you can do and can't do. I keep talking about my friend's ranch, but I think I was just so excited to like leave the house and see another human being. So I went to Rhonda's ranch, and she was saying like that she's starting a whole. Actually, I should hook you guys up because she's starting a whole thing where she's gonna start raising cattle, and they're gonna do like a Kobe beef like cattle ranch. But she's got like her first, or I think it's her second one. But her talking about it, it was just like oozing out of her, and she was so excited and so passionate. And she's like, and we want to work with all the farmers, and we want to, have jarred things. So, I was talking to her about the process of it. I'm like, well, when you get bigger, it has to be shelf stable. It's a whole other world.
Right.
Or knowing what font point you legally have to have for your sugar content. Like it's actually really, it's really complicated. And I think that there's a lot of mistakes that people make in the beginning that, when you're in the middle of it, you are like, I would love to share this with someone, because if someone would have shared this with me, it would have really helped me not limp along in the beginning or move on to wherever. I've been fortunate because I'm in the restaurant industry. So a lot of the food handling and the processing was easier for me to deal with. Press and PR stuff, I had naturally under my belt because of the music. I had my own record label. I already know how to talk to like people, like all of the stuff that we talked about. Also out there, everybody, I've never had a publicist. I've never had any help. No one's ever reached out to anybody. They've just reached out to me.
Right.
So there's something about being genuine, but also understanding how to navigate the system, let's just say, right?
Yeah.
And being able to be personable and meet ladies like you and be able to tell your story and get across like what you're trying to do, which I hope I have. I haven't.
You definitely have. And I also just think you are just such a warm and genuine person, and it just comes through. We were talking about this with someone the other day who is a television writer. It's like when people are making a TV show and everybody's happy on the set, it comes through in what you're watching, and you can taste your passion and your happiness when you taste your jam. It just it feels good, it tastes good, and Laura Ann, as you can all see, is just one of our favorite people. She's just
Thank you.
Yeah.
and one of the days we will see her in person again.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, you will. It might be from a balcony. It's like
I love the balcony idea.
If we could all just have a balcony.
I know now we're all going to have to build second stories on our houses.
Right. My garage basement. I could blow you kisses from my garage basement.
Perfect.
Also known as my storage space. No. I actually moved into like a tiny home.
Oh.
My house is 500 square feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I use my garage. The way I do storage is, I'm very organized.
Yeah,
and you have to be, because even just having like one armoire and two women, like this is another like lesbian thing that you're like, you don't understand. Like, like it's a thing. Like, you've got one closet and two girls. Holy moly.
So do you
there's
put your winter clothes in the garage during the summer and vice versa?
I have a bi-weekly rotation, girl. I have different bins, and well, because you want to keep it fresh. I don't want anyone to like necessarily see me in the same thing all the time.
Sure.
Right.
I want to get, what's his name, Michael Kors or Charlie Brown, where like one day I just wear the same thing all the time, and it's just a turtleneck and jeans. or
Right,
just a
right.
shirt.
Yeah,
I'm
Rachel
getting there.
Maddow, black jacket and t-shirt. thing.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
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 Totally. If she didn't change her eyelashes, I would never know what day of the week it was.
Or if with that one little piece of hair didn't swap
Yeah.
in a different direction. That's how I know. Like, oh, I didn't record this last night. This is a new one. Okay.
That's funny. Her hair changing, and then Tiny Chef. What is that?
Tiny Chef.
Oh gosh, you're not into Tiny Chef?
I don't know about. Oh, Tiny Chef.
The little teeny things on the
I thought it was I'm obsessed
That's
with those.
my favorite.
I'm
Yeah.
obsessed. I'm
Yeah.
obsessed with Tiny Chef. I love Tiny Chef.
I feel like they have
but
ones in
so
a while.
he has.
I found one the other day and I looked out.
Well, he has something called "What's in My Kitchen Wednesday," but it's like, "What's in my kitchen Wednesday?" Like, but it's funny with what's happening in our lives. We don't know what day it is. Like, if it wasn't for Tiny Chef, I'm like, oh my God, it's Wednesday. Like, oh, thank God. What is in your kitchen, Tiny Chef? Oh, onions this week.
Is everything tiny or is it regular size stuff?
You have. I don't even want to spoil it.
All right, we'll watch it.
Have you? I'm sure you have eaten at that Moby vegan restaurant. Tree.
Yes. Well,
Little Pine.
They talk about that. The chef from Little Pine does stuff with Tiny Chef.
Because they have a Tiny Chef knife. Like there's a little gift shop at Little Pine. So in between where the girl checks you in and the gift shop on the wall is a Tiny Chef knife, like framed.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, it's framed. I thought you meant like for sale. I'm like, I gotta go.
No. I mean, I don't know. Offer them something. Maybe.
They may sell it to you.
But no, it's like this little display. I freaked out when I.
Oh no, I'm gonna stock Tiny Chef on my own. Don't worry.
Excellent. All right.
I hate to say it.
I know that hour and 15 minutes flew. Jeez.
Oh gosh, you guys, that did go pretty fast actually. Because I was just like, the other few things I've done have just been these little, like quickie 5-minute spots where they're just like, make a quick drink and get out of here.
We're done with you.
It's also nice to chit chat.
I know, it's so great.
I love you guys so. You're so sweet, and I follow what you do, and I love everything. You guys are great interviewers, and you have really excellent curation taste, and I just really appreciate and am happy to be a part of this. I think I told you that I found you through Nan at Griston Toll,
Right.
because she reached out to me through, because we're all, like, everyone's related. So one of my other clients told her about me, so she contacts me, and of course I like Google her, like, Griston Toll, what's that? And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the flower lady
so
that I
great.
heard about on Good Food,
Yeah, love
So
Nan.
She owns only urban, for people watching, she owns the only urban flour mill, and she makes all whole grain flours. She's incredible.
Amazing. Yeah.
And so, Nan, life ruiners, right? It's like once you discover like nice wines, and I can never buy a cheap bottle of wine ever again because now you're ruined. So Nan has my jams in her gift shop, and of course when I was there, I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna buy some because I want to support her too. So I bought some flour, and I came home and just made my regular chocolate chip cookies. The greatest chocolate chip cookie I have ever made in my life. Didn't change anything except for the flour. And then you have this moment where you understand why quality is so important to pay for. I mean, it sounds silly, but I feel the same way about jam too, right?
Yeah.
So everyone, going back to like sharing your experience, I feel that any other jam person that brings anybody over to our side, like once someone realizes that, you know, a $9 jam, oh my gosh, or 10 or $12 or whatever they are nowadays, like, oh gosh, oh, you know, $10 for a jam, that's crazy, until you eat it and then you're like, oh, so if Squirrel brings you over to the appreciation of a good jam and why you like that jam and those flavor combinations,
Right.
or Jan's jams, you know, or any, I mean, I could go off, like there's so many people that I'm really good friends with. Jenkins jellies, like, you know, where I wrote her cocktail section in her book. You know, I mean, talk about gracious. No, I'm kidding. But she's
I'm a good
like,
person.
oh wow, you make cocktails? I'm writing a book. I'm like, I'll write your whole cocktail section, girl. No problem. Come on over. We'll do a book. It'll be fun.
Oh my God. Yeah, I was used to say, a friend of ours, Billy Best, who we interviewed, used to have a farm, and we should hook her up with your friend with the ranch, because Billy had livestock and stuff on her farm back in Massachusetts. But our sister used to say, oh yeah, Billy sells her eggs for $7 a dozen or whatever it was. And this was back, you know, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
We'd always be like, how can an egg be worth that? And then I started going to the farmer's market in Atwater Village right by me. And there's a guy you can buy eggs from, and he sells you the eggs, and he says, have an excellent day. And I brought them home, and the first time I took a bite, and I was like, there's something wrong with this egg. It doesn't taste like an egg. And then once you get past that, it's like, oh my God, this is like, the yolk is as orange as the orange on your table. And the egg is just like the most delicious thing you'll ever taste. And you'll never want to get a supermarket egg again.
You know that happened to me when I moved to Los Angeles, and I went to the farmer's market and got a tomato. Yeah. And we had a garden when I was a kid. And then, you know, again, with like, is this a blessing or curse, with everyone like stopping and being able to like slow down and appreciate things again. Got busy through my junior high and high school years. Both my parents were working, so it was just grocery store. Like, we didn't have a garden anymore. And I hadn't had a tomato that wasn't like a grocery store, like tasteless, just red thing that you put on a sandwich in so long. And it brought back, like, it just flooded me with these childhood memories.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Yeah.
Ooh, Rhonda gave me some eggs too, so it's funny you should say that. I went over there, she's like, oh, you know, we could socially distance. I thought, chairs, we could put them really far apart and we'll just let the chickens out. And it was like 4 or 5 o'clock, and it was this like sprawling ranch, and the goats are running around, and we let the chickens out. And then she sent me home with oranges and eggs. Wow. I floated home. I was just like, it's not Thousand Oaks. I don't care where I am.
I'll walk there next time. I don't care.
I know. No, it was. Well, it made me realize, like, I need to get out to nature more. Like, and and I have to make the time, because just like how I felt so great. It was so nice, like, breathe the air and just be around the animals, and it was delightful. What a wonderful treat.
Yeah, that's awesome that you got to
nice.
see that.
I know. So everybody get out.
It's funny. This morning I was like, I'm taking a walk today. Take a walk today.
Yeah.
I've been really wanting to go out to like the Super Bloom stuff that was happening. Like, I saw all the people going out there, and I was like, you know, again, just grab the dogs, jump in the car, drive a couple hours, just lay in a poppy field for get all like Wizard of Oz on it.
Get all dark. Hope it snows to wake you up.
It might. Oh my gosh, with the weather. Holy moly.
Crazy weather.
So true.
All of our people in Michigan.
I know.
And East Coast people, Midwest people, stay warm. It's 95 here again.
I know it's 75 and sunny, and you know, whatever. No. I do love when it's cold at home in Chicago, and then I'll just sit outside with like a frosty cocktail and take pictures of myself instead of like, how's the weather? But I keep the Chicago weather like it's the weather on my phone. Like I
I busted on mine.
here.
Yeah, when I first moved here and all my siblings were still on the East Coast, I would say, people don't have to live like this anymore. It's not like you have to get in a covered wagon, go across the country, and you're going to lose half the people that go with you to, some horrible disease. Like, you can get in a plane, you can fly, and you can ship everything. Like, you don't have to live like this.
Yeah.
I appreciate
She finally got us to move.
Yeah.
Hi, buddy.
I'm happier for it.
All right. Well, I think we should wrap up, sadly, but we'll do this again because that was fun. So everybody go to lauraannsjams.com and on all social stuff and buy some jam. Support the local feud community. And next Tuesday we have our knitting lesson with Annette Corsino Blair from LA Knitting Tree. So that'll be fun.
Yay.
Everybody get their knitting needles ready, and everybody.
And you can order in advance if you want needles.
She has a kit we posted. She has needles and yarn that you can order, and she'll get them out to you.
Cool.
And I don't think we have any other announcements at the moment, but
everybody. I was say that one thing we want to do.
Some booze.
Yeah, for sure. And then we at some point will collaborate with Laura Ann to get her jams in our subscription box.
Yes,
we want.
Definitely on the horizon.
We got an idea.
Yeah. All right, everybody. So stay healthy, stay safe, and stay passionate. We love you all. See you next time.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you,
Laura. Bye.
No one ever told us, but let's go with that.
All right.
Bye, you guys. Thank you so much for hosting this.
Oh, it was our pleasure. Bye.